the truth has to be said. And I am not here to bash, because yes, the media speaks about the problems of video games and the consequences of video games. I would like to alert about a certain type of video games and also how it is being used. Listen to the following statistics. In the United Kingdom, the video game industry in 2019 was worth £5.35 billion. In the world, the same year, worth $153 billion. 90% of US children, kids, play video games. 36 million users have been registered in this country to be playing video games. But perhaps one of the most difficult statistics to somehow try to work around is, on average, 2018 statistic, on average, a person, a child from the age of 12 to 15 spends on average 14 hours a week playing video games. That's 2 hours a day. Yes? Now, there are some who have come forward and said, video games are very educational, they're very good, they're helpful, because they increase their attention and concentration span for some people because they're focused on certain ways, yes? There are others who have said what it does is it keeps the children busy, keeps them engaged. There are those today that seek to continuously present playing video games, generally speaking, as what? As a positive phenomena in society. No doubt, there is a role for some video games out there today that can be educational, that can be beneficial. We are not going to paint all of them with the same brush. But as expected, here is where we're going to have to discuss within a couple of minutes 2 problems: excessive usage and the type of games we are playing. Yes? Have you heard of a man by the name of Brenton Tarrant? Brenton Tarrant? Anybody heard of this particular individual? Yes? A man who is the perpetrator of the massacre in Christchurch, New Zealand, where he entered the mosque and massacred all those Muslims. Yes, over 50 of them, he killed them. In his manifesto, this is what he says. Not that you want to come and bite my head off because I'm going to mention a name of a game. This is what he says. Fortnite trained me to be a killer, and to what? Then he goes on to say, whereby I step on the bodies of those I kill. That's all I'm going to leave you with. Yes? Today what we're saying is, there are the types of video games which are violent. Sexual orientation in terms of pushing for those kind of things. Drugs, blood, yes? In a survey conducted by a website called Statista, yes? Quite popular when it published statistics. In the United States, it was asked, children were asked, which type of games do you play? 75% of them said violent. Do we as parents have a say in what our children play, which kind of games they play? Or somehow they've developed this interest in games that are passed between them and we are completely oblivious. The dangers of these violence-promoting games, yes, is there, and scientific data, behavioral research have pointed to it, yes? And we must alert ourselves, our communities, to ensure that they recognize the problem with this. The second is what? Is the idea that it completely becomes lahu. Lahu to the extent that, especially in holiday seasons like now, in other times of the year where the children may not have as much to do, they are there for a number of hours playing games, and the parents are completely what? Completely turning their back on this and allowing this to be what? Enhanced. There is a problem today that the United Nations health body has identified, and that is gaming addiction. You and I know that exists. It definitely exists, yes? In the recognition that there are those who seek to somehow remove the problems that we have with video gaming. Let me give you some of them. For example, there is the issue to do with physical health. Those who are continuously playing and disregard all these elements regarding moderation or having control, they're having problems with obesity, there are problems with mental health, there are problems with antisocial behavior, problems with communication breakdown. They are not able to have a proper conversation because they're hours on front of the screen playing with someone. There is the rise now of online abuse, manipulation, isn't it? Grooming. that exist today when it comes to these particular practices at the same time. But there is a very interesting notion that I would like to leave you with in this particular regard. And that is what? And that is when our children are continuously playing games, what are they seeking to do? There is competitiveness. They want to become the best. They want to say to their friends, I have achieved the best. I am at this particular level. Yes, isn't it? That's the whole point. Otherwise, while they're playing the game, yes, it's fun, but it is also highly competitive. It is teaching our children success comes when you become the best in this game. And they begin to forget the importance of hard work and dedication in life outside the game. They begin to live in this virtual space. And all they're concerned about is how to become the best in that particular game. Do you see why the industry is pushing this? It's leading to more and more laziness. It's leading to more and more people losing their focus, their attention, their objective of this particular existence. Now, some people say, don't just talk about problems, give us solutions, please. We are all parents, we have struggles when it comes to our kids. They're constantly wanting to play games. Here, I give you 6 tips very quickly about how we should deal with this. Number 1, look at yourself before you look at your children. Yes, it's very easy to say to your child, stop playing few hours this game and that game, whereas you yourself are what? Doing so. So, we have to scrutinize ourselves before we do for children. Number 2, we need to sit down, calmly explain with our children the problems with this. If it is excessive, it may lead to addiction, it leads to other problems. Number 1. Number 2, we must have a plan as parents. Do not just leave the children to play however many hours they want. Make it structured. Make it not every day, perhaps every other day, or once in every few days. Have a plan, and a plan that is agreed by both husband and wife. There must be discipline. What happened to the notion of discipline? May Allah bless our fathers and forefathers. And they had much more discipline than some of our parents that today. Yes. Number 3, encourage alternatives, including physical exercise and activities which could be something that they would do instead of playing games, video games. Yes. That is very important. And take part in these activities. What's wrong with the father or the mother playing football or other physical sports or other activities which are healthy for the child instead of just encouraging them to play video games. Number 4, of great importance, is when it comes to the children, it's of the great importance that we involve them in discussions, in gatherings of family members and friends. What happens is, I have seen this, when people are gathering, yes, as friends and family members, what happens? You find the kids are all playing games on their phones, and the adults are having a conversation. Involve them in the conversation. Have talks with them. Sit down, have quizzes, yes, something that does not give them the impression that that's it. Family gatherings is all about what? You go and play your own games and do whatever you wish. And number 5, ensure that you participate and take part in playing the video game with your son or daughter. You say, what? I play the video game? Yes. Allah, I remember one of the mu'mineen, I said to him, he was complaining, my son is on social media a lot. I said, are you on social media? He said, astaghfirullah. I said, why? He said, fasad book. Now you don't want to be on Facebook, but you want to also be there to see how he interacts. Yes. Now you also take part in these games. Play with them. See what kind of attitude they have. And the final point is, explain the ethos of life in Islamic teachings. And there is an amazing ayah, and everything in the Quran is amazing. I leave you with this. Chapter 21, verse number 16. Recite this ayah and discuss it with your children. وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا لَاعِبِينَ. Allah says, I have not created the heavens and the earth and whatever is in between for games, for amusement. Allah says it's not the purpose. I have not created you for this. No problem. You can play. Of course, certainly those at the early ages, they can play. But it should not be the absolute objective. It should not be the goal. It should not be something that preoccupies them all the time, inshallah.